Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I am well. How are you doing?
Good. Still in my pajamas. Still, you showed up all beautiful, but I think the next time my next goal for this podcast is to maybe we should dress up like our little background. What do you think about that?
I'm
I have a
almost there, so yeah.
yeah, well, I got my bun. I just don't have the cat in my pocket. So we decided to carry on the discussion where we left off the last discussion, which was about letting go and the whole let them theory or method that Mel Robbins has put together and put out the information for us to disseminate. Rochelle asked me what did that look like for me, and I said that I thought of forgiveness where you let go without telling the person that you let them go, but you're left with the result of that. There's consequences of everything. And just because you let it go doesn't mean there's nothing for you left to work on, either with yourself or with that person or with that job or with that company, so that you can move on in a healthy way. So it's fine to go, well, let them, but don't hurt people or hurt yourself in the meantime. So then Rochelle asked, what attachment, what is it called?
Attachment styles.
Attachment
Hmm.
style. So she sent me a book during the break about the 5 areas of healing
Hmm.
by Dr. Zeb Talley.
Yep.
Talley. If I butchered that, I apologize.
Tally.
And Rochelle, there we go. Rochelle mentioned about my anxiety attachment, that she thinks I'm of that. Will you read? Do you have that handy? Will you read that again? If you don't,
The
that's fine. I just put you on the spot.
the attachment styles. Yeah.
The anxiety one, the one that you said you thought I had.
Anxious. Yeah.
Anxious,
Anx
yes.
Okay. Or do you want me to read all of them? Just yours.
Just mine, and then the one
Okay.
that you are.
Okay. So for you, I diagnosed you with the anxious attachment style, which is individuals with an anxious attachment style tend to worry about their relationships and fear of abandonment. They are often highly sensitive to their partner's moods and actions, sometimes appearing clingy or overly demanding in the desire for closeness.
Well, I'm glad I'm on mute or in my headphones so my boyfriend didn't hear that because he'd come running around the corner. So that's what's wrong with her.
Hmm.
You just described me to a T. Um, the counter I have to that is luckily I have some pretty good redeeming qualities. Because honestly, if you were just that, like in a nutshell, like every day in your whole life, I mean, to me, what you just described, the positive is like I'm very energetic, I'm very caring, I'm very compassionate to people, I have a very strong work ethic. I'm stubborn and I do what I want. Um, and mostly just because that's what I think is the right thing to do. And sometimes I forget that there's people or processes, right? You as a project manager know if you forego a process, you're the one as a project manager that has to explain why that process was foregone, right? When you're in a relationship, specifically that one is tied to very strong feelings and intimacy, and you do that, it's not there's still a consequence. It may not be financial, but someone's feelings or someone's expectations are not being met because you chose to let them, to let them go. So What do you think you most identify with in those attachment styles?
Hold on, what happened to my screen? So for me, this is what I used to be I used to say I was a disorganized attachment style, so that's like anxious or avoidant. So that was this style is often result from early life trauma or instability. Individuals with this disorganized attachment show inconsistent behavior in relationships, sometimes seeking closeness and other times withdrawing, creating mixed signals. But since I've been on this healing journey and have come a mighty long way, I would say that my attachment style is more secure now. And so the characteristics of this is people with a secure attachment style are comfortable with closeness, express their needs and feelings openly, and can balance independence with intimacy. They trust others and themselves in relationships, leading to healthy, balanced connections.
Have you practiced any of those on me in our either professional or our friendship? I think lately we've been prioritizing our professional more our business relationship than our personal. Because I see you drawing very healthy boundaries, and uh, it's been a growth time for me to learn how to respect those boundaries. Our relationship in that regard is new for me. And that's why I'm very careful about it. If you remember, when Rochelle says something to me, I just go, yes, ma'am.
You do.
Right? Right
Yeah.
off the bat, I want her to know that she is seen and heard. And I put it in my pocket, and no one's perfect. And so I see you. I see you. I see you work. I see you working on it. I'm not nosy per se. I'm curious. Have you knowingly practiced some of the things that you talked about? Because I have felt them heavily.
Yeah, I wouldn't. So I'm a person like I'm not going to say or suggest anything that I haven't done or practiced myself. Like, we spoke about boundaries and standing your ground, and I have been through that. So I'm a person. I'm not gonna give my advice or what I think someone should do or say without having done myself, because then I'd
Okay.
be a hypocrite, and I, that ain't me. That's not me. So yeah, so I know what it's like to not have those boundaries in place, and I know what it feels like when you do put them in place and how your life changes for the betterment.
Awesome. So what do we do when we mess up, we fail? How do we recover? And if we are big proponents of letting go and letting people go their path and do what they want to do,
Um,
how do we stay good at that, I guess? Like, because we can't just give off the impression again
yeah.
that that's the end all be all. It's just not
Mhm.
that, no offense. It's not black and white.
Yeah.
So
So for
stupid.
me, because no one is perfect, for me, I give myself grace. I acknowledge that I did fail or I did let myself down, but I don't bring myself down. I acknowledge it. And then I come up with a plan, I'm planning. Like, okay, moving forward, I play out the scenarios in my head, how the conversation might go, and then I stick with it. Stick with it. Like, don't go back on it. Because you went back on it one time and you see what happened, or you let yourself down and you see what happened. But it's okay. You give yourself grace and you move on and you make better choices and decisions. Yeah.
Awesome. That's very good. You triggered about four things in me in that conversation. I'm trying to work on being a good listener. I
Mhm.
have very terrible ADD, and the third point is the most important, is that when someone's talking, it makes me identify with certain things, and I want to talk about them, and then I get real excited, and then I start interrupting people, and then I lose. I lose people that way. So
Mhm.
I wrote it down.
Ooh, look at you. Baby steps. I
Baby
love it.
steps. So, well, for one, my lazy ass is actually sitting at the desk and not on the couch with my cat. But okay, so we already named someone Susan. There's someone else the person taught me how to do this. We also used to work with was one of our peers that I loathed more than a dirty shoe sole.
I feel
Can we call him Mr. Potato Head?
you. Okay.
MPH for short. Mm. Okay, he taught me how to, and the story goes, because there's always a story with MPH that we didn't give two shits about. But he was interviewing someone. It just so happened to be for the role that you were also interviewing for and didn't get because they're stupid.
Yeah.
He wrote down, he told me his example was he wrote down, "This is the dumbest interview I've ever been in." And he showed it to me. And I started using it on him. So when we would go into calls, in order for me to keep my mouth shut and not let him trigger me, I would draw pictures of Mr. Potato Head so that I would, you know, keep my mouth shut. And you worked with this person. So
Hmm.
anyway, I digress.
I love this name.
MPH, and it
Mr.
ain't miles per
Potato
hour. Maybe his mouth was running MPH
Head.
25 miles an hour. You know what? Anyway, that's who taught me by virtue of showing off his narcissistic methods. You got to hand it back to him. Five style. So I want to leave with a joke because
I
we have
hope he
about,
is well.
we hope everyone's well and listening.
Go ahead.
Wait, 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 wait. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes. I
Brandy
do.
at Brandy underscore millennial manager. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Okay. So going back, full circle, and we have about 11 minutes left, but Rochelle and I both have some appointments, and this has been a really good day, and I think we've squeezed this lemon as much as we're going to. So I have been, with the exception of a couple of very, strict Alcoholic Anonymous, behavior. I have lived a life sober from alcohol 99.9% of the time between January 17th of 21 and today. And part of being in recovery, whether you've been sober that whole time or not, part of being in active recovery and admitting that you are a recovering addict, meaning you never stop being an addict. That means that every day you make the next right decision, the next best right decision, and you leave yourself at the end of the day where you can put your head on the pillow with no resentments, no regrets, and you get a full night's sleep and you try to be better the next day, whether it's not having a drink, not hurting somebody's feelings, whatever. And that's why it was important for me to understand, okay, like I need to let people go. I need to cut that attachment for the sake of myself. And I had my psychologist was constantly telling me, why are you so afraid to tell people no, Angie? Because they won't love me anymore. And I give off these really weird vibes of I don't care. And
Hmm.
at the same time, my heart is breaking. And I think what I haven't done to service to myself is listening to my heart breaking more and responding in that way. My daughter calls me a bit robotic because in recovery you have to make the it's like a flow diagram, like a data mapping diagram. For a person in recovery, this doesn't happen before this. Well, when you have a clash or a conflict, it's because that process has gotten separated and out of whack. And so for people in recovery to respond to things the right way the first time with the right words, if you're in active recovery, you can't do that all the time and not in the moment, because if we do and it makes it worse than when we started, we might drink over that. We might do something risky, spend money because of that.
I
So
have a question.
yes.
Speaking of recovery, because I don't know the answer, are you always in recovery? Like, is it an ongoing thing, or is like, do you hit an end point like, well, I'm no longer in recovery, I'm new, I guess, or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, once you ignite, it's like being type 2 diabetic or getting the pre-diabetic diagnosis. And
Hmm.
somebody, it's always cute when somebody goes, I found out I was pre-diabetic and I'm doing this. And I would go, well, you're diabetic. Once you cross that bridge, you don't go back. So for someone to admit, look, I'm going to make myself better and I'm in active recovery, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, I'm not sure where I was going. What I mean is, that's not like a label or whatever, but you're always working, somebody that actively admits that they're actively working on themselves, in the moment, you don't need to tell anybody. It's clear.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm saying about you in the last 2 weeks. Like, it's been clear. And you know what? That makes me want to be a better person for you, which is why I've done these organizing. It's why I set my timer that has 7 minutes left, because I see you doing better. And you know what? You nor I have any reason to be this upbeat right now.
Hmm.
We have not been working upwards of 120, 130, 140 days. We have mouths to feed, we have bills to pay, we have mortgages to pay because we're smart women that invest our money. We have retirements that we're trying not to touch. And it's okay to ask for help. And I hate cliches. Like, it felt weird just saying it's okay to ask for help, but
Say it again. Say it again.
it's okay to ask for help, but I'm going to put another dot on it. I'm always the reverse thinker. Ask yourself for fucking help.
Hmm.
S- You know, Ask yourself how you could do things better to be more helpful to yourself. Part of the reason why people suffer is because they don't have people to ask. And that's why we're making these 800 fucking numbers
Hmm.
and EAPs that nobody uses. You know, Stop depending on people that you have to reach out to and start saving the only one person you have, which is yourself. Be resourceful. You know how to be resourceful. If you're listening to this, and even if you're not, pass the word. You can do this. You're strong enough. Now I sound like Stuart Smiley from Saturday Night Live, which Rochelle's too young to even fucking know about. So I forgot who I was talking to. But you know what, Brandy? Here you are again. Get the fuck up, clean up your mess, take the fucking PTO. I'm 24 hours from taking $25,000 out of my retirement with tax and penalties because I'm hustling. I'm hustling. And that's a temporary measure of, hard working fucking money that I made in 1997 when I took my first IT job. And I'm 53 and I need to feed some mouths and I need to make my life better. That's what it's there for.
Hmm.
And I took it up to the wire. And you know what? The way that the magic's been working here lately, I don't even have the check yet. But I did have an interview and a discussion about pay. And you know what? It's the weekend. What might converge on Monday? A job offer and me not having to cash a check and just making a call and borrowing $2,000 versus taking 25,000 out of my account. The
Yep.
possibilities are endless. And if you are listening to this and you don't know what possibilities are about, these are the two people that have at least the intellectual understanding, Rochelle, the proximity to young people. and the young Rochelle, you cover about every cross section that I don't. All right, let's be honest. I have the age and experience, and together, Rochelle and I are a
Dynamic
force.
duo.
We are a force, and we want other people to chime in, and we need to make a few more recordings and get a few more followers and invite some listeners in to help us with this effort to spread empathy and knowledge and experience and understanding and not trying to label it with anything really. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
just chill out and work it out. I don't know what else to say. So, um, we're going to go on with this glorious day. I'm doing my Rochelle impression. We're just going to go on with this glorious day, and we are going to be that girl. Wait, I need my braids. We are going to be that girl because I am that girl.
Okay, did you listen to the song?
I did.
What do you think about it?
I don't like Beyonce, but I liked the song and I thought about you while I was listening.
That's
So
all that matters.
that's all that, you know what? See, that's why I love Rochelle. She was like, that's Angie. Do you know what I'm? And I love that I can be honest to you and that I gave it the minute, I did it, but I gave you the honest answer. And honestly, if you ask Craig, he would tell you, he told me, he's like, you're just I'm like, Beyonce's ugly. I'm more like, I forget even who I said, but it was some very attractive African American woman.
Okay, Angie.
I know we gotta go.
Oh,
All right.
I do want you to read this book though. The Five Areas of Healing. It changed my life. Like once I read this, and shout out to Dr. Zeb Talley. Once I read this book, because you don't know what you don't know, right? But then again, you can know something and not put it into action. And once I read this book, my whole life changed. So the Rochelle you see now is thanks to Dr. Zeb Talley the third.
Could you please do some research for our listeners and see if any of the people we've talked about have podcasts?
Yes,
Because we could make sure we tag their podcast and actually,
he
yes,
has. He goes live. He does a lot. He's on tour right now. Yes.
let's get those links out. And when I do the post, I'll include those links.
Okay.
All right. Everybody have a great day. Rochelle, have a wonderful weekend and we'll talk next week. Bye.